Thanks so much, Kevin, for that update. And now I'm joined here by Marianne we're celebrating Respect Life Month. You're from the Pro-Life office and you work with Project Rachel. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk about Respect Life Month and the services offered through the Pro-Life office.
Tell us about some of those services.
Great. Well, we really have three different programming agencies under the rubric of the Pro-Life office. So we have the Pregnancy Help, Pregnancy Resource Centers. We actually opened up a new one recently in Brockton, so we now have three in the Archdiocese. Oh, wow. One is in Brighton that serves metropolitan Boston. We have one in Natick and for service of Metro West, and then the new one down in Brockton.
Great.
So we have trained nurses and actually trilingual caseworkers who offer amazing personalized support to any woman of any religious background who is experiencing difficulties during pregnancy. And I can't say enough good things about that amazing work that's done. We also have an education office, which is called the Respect Life Education Office. Colleen Donahoe, who I think has been on the program, has probably told you a lot about the work that they do, bringing speakers like Jason Everett in, a remarkable middle school curriculum, and most recently working with young adults on the theology of the body. I've just got an upcoming retreat coming, so that's all good news about spreading the gospel message and the beauty and the sanctity of life. And then the third component is one that's very near and dear to my heart, which is the Project Rachel post-abortion ministry. And we know that there are many, many women and men in our church and across our country who've been deeply hurt by their participation in a past abortion. And Project Rachel offers an integrated approach to healing.
It's really just an amazing ministry for everyone, just to find some solace and forgiveness and really just some understanding. And now that it's just you and I, and Kevin's over there at the news desk, one of the things I talked to you about earlier is that, people often think of well, that's a woman's issue, but men are greatly affected by post-abortion kind of trauma and struggles. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. It's a great question, Bonnie, and it doesn't often get discussed. And obviously abortion is a different experience for a woman because this happens in her body, it's her child. And for men are affected in many different ways. Some men deliberately place pressure on their wives or their girlfriends to obtain an abortion even though she didn't want it. And so, they've got a tremendous amount of guilt and regret. There were other men who didn't know that their partner had had an abortion. And then there are probably even a greater number of sort of like ambivalent guys. They just said, well, do whatever you want. I'll pay for it, or you make the decision. And to many women, that was kind of a way of them hearing, well, he really doesn't want to support this pregnancy, and he could have said, help me with the baby, and we can get through this. And so that many, many different emotions. And there's also another group of men who were parents of daughters who were considering abortion. And sometimes parents thought it was in the best interest of their daughter, especially if she's in college, just go ahead, go on with your life, we'll take care of this, it'll be over. And then they saw the years and years of pain and sorrow and regret. And it's a lot of soul searching on their part to try to understand the role that they may have played there.
Sure. So it's interesting to hear that aspect of it, and particularly as you described how the office is organized. But October, as we mentioned earlier, is in fact Respect Life Month, and there's some great resources from the USCCB, great resources here locally, and events that are planned. So tell us about Respect Life Month.
Sure. Well, for many years, the Church across the United States has designated October as Respect Life Month. And you could say, well, every day is Respect Life Day, and that obviously is true, but it was really important for the Church to come together in unity. So theoretically, every parish in the United States during this month will be observing in some way the Church's teaching on the dignity of human life. Whether you're an inner city parish or rural parish, whatever language you speak, that this is a time for the Church to come together and educate the public and people in the pews about our identity as beloved children of God. And once you understand that, all of life becomes a lot simpler.
There's a beautiful graphic on display now for Every Life. The artwork's simply stunning. The materials are great every year, but this year particularly touched my heart. I just think it's really, really beautiful. And the other thing this year we're talking about is the 50th anniversary of the document that, of course, is so misunderstood. You know, people, you know, think that, you know, Catholics are just, you know, running around having babies all over the place. And yet, Humanae Vitae tells us so much more about our own personal dignity from womb to tomb, you know. So tell us about that celebration and how your office is observing that.
Well, actually, the Family Life Office out of the Apostolate has a great program coming up, and I believe it's October 18th.
Yes.
Humanae Vitae, 50 years later. And there's actually a film.
Yes.
Dr. Angela Franks is involved with that, and that's open to the public. So I know there's going to be one during the day at the Pastoral Center and another one in the evening at Mount Alvernia High School. You know, I think looking back, I guess I always felt that people never read Humanae Vitae.
Sure.
And the argument was not about the content or the truth of the teaching. It really devolved into an argument of whether the Catholic Church had a right to tell people how to live their private lives. And so, you know, given the culture of the time, there was so much dissent, and people really didn't understand the teaching. And it took John Paul II, actually, many years later, in his compilation of the Theology of the Body, to try to bring the beauty of that truth to the fore.
Right, the real joy of life.
The joy
We're
of life.
just about out of time, but you know, I'm so glad you brought up the movie. We had the opportunity to interview the Daniel De Silva.
It's great.
And Kelly is going to be on soon. It is a great movie. We had the chance to see it. So, so thanks so much for bringing that up. We're going to go to a quick break, but we could continue this conversation forever. I think it's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here.